Hey, a little warning before this video starts. I will be pretty angry throughout this video since vegan teacher decided to use another tragedy for her own gain. Anyways, onto the video itself.
Somebody who isn't vegan consumes approximately 100 animals per year. The Pope died when he was 88. How many deaths is he responsible for?
Nobody gives a shit. Hey guys, welcome to episode 1 of That Vegan Teacher Payback. To be honest, a different topic was at first planned, but this topic is pretty urgent. So, the Pope Franciscus to be exact, passed away yesterday at the age of 88. It was pretty much a shock for the world, regardless of religion or beliefs. It was a big loss for everyone except the wicked vegan lunatic. Because today she decided to make a video mocking his death. Just like she did with Betty White or the Queen. And here she said that Pope Franciscus would be pretty much burning in fucking hell. Katie, you are so goddamn mental for even suggesting something like that. And that you actually believe this is actually unforgivable. And Katie, this happened in the same country where you live in. What do you think how the Italian people would react if they saw your video? Anyways, let's just get this shit show over with.
Somebody who isn't vegan consumes approximately 100 animals per year. The Pope died when he was 88. How many deaths is he responsible for? Now that he's dead, is the world a better place? The Pope was a disgrace to Jesus, God, all true Christians, and any other religious or non-religious people in the world.
Just a question there, Katie. Who are you to talk? You are an atheist, so you shouldn't be talking about who is a disgrace to religious people. And no, the Pope wasn't a disgrace. From what I've seen from him, he did what he was supposed to do in a pretty good way, to be honest. Also, I just noticed, this video is the same thing as with the Queen or with Betty White. You didn't say a single peep about them until they passed away. And trust me, she will keep on doing this until the platform just puts their foot down and says, no, you can't do it.
He's in hell right now because he promoted the use of animal-based foods.
It is horrifying that she actually thinks that such content would help her cause and that it would help promote the word of veganism. Because in fact, videos like that don't help at all. I've read comments on her videos that people say that they will never become vegan just because of her. Yet she still is in that delusion with the 100 clicks, which just isn't how it works. Katie, that is just an illusional concept that you've conjured up in your damaged fucking brain. Since most people just don't give a shit if they eat meat or not. And the fact that you see a problem with that is just laughable at this point.
During many official meals and religious feasts, animal products were savagely consumed or promoted by this disgraceful Pope. The Catholic Church has a long-standing tradition of using meat, dairy, and eggs in its ceremonies and celebrations, none of which Pope Francis challenged.
Okay, look, I'm not a religious person myself, but it is a fact that meat is used in many religions as far as I am aware. It is used in Christianity, in Judaism, in Islam with the exception of pork, in Buddhism or Hinduism. It is widely known that it isn't just in Catholic Christianity. And Pope Francis never challenged that, since in the Bible it is said by God that eating meat is not only allowed but appreciated. So Pope Francis pretty much did what he was supposed to do, so I don't know your problem there. Oh yeah, I know, it's because he wasn't promoting veganism.
The Pope should have told everybody to stop eating eggs because baby chicks are ground up alive at just 1 day old. He should have made them watch the documentary Dominion.
That wasn't his job. He wasn't an animal rights activist. He was the Pope. His job was to spread the word of God and Christianity and not some stupid vegan propaganda. By the way, she now drops another one of her songs here, and to save you all the pain, I'll just skip it.
The Pope was a terrible example of manhood. Good men protect animals. They don't pay people to rape, kidnap, torture, enslave, and commodify them for a 5-minute meal. The Pope is in hell right now because he blessed the use of animals for food or to be treated as slaves. He should have spoken out against places like SeaWorld and circuses and zoos. He should have spoken out against bullfighting and the rodeo, but he remained silent while billions of animals suffered needlessly under his watch. The Pope has blessed farm animals like chickens, cows, and sheep, not as individuals deserving liberation, but often in the context of agriculture or food production.
So he was a terrible example of manlyhood for doing his job. Alright, I don't know how this logic works, but you sure know about this, babe. And I agree with the whole bullfighting thing, that there are practices that aren't very ethical. But let's get to that SeaWorld argument, because I have something to say about that. How about you stop complaining that he didn't protest against that, and you or Tash Peterson go to SeaWorld and protest there yourselves? Because, vegan teacher, from what I have seen, you have done the bare minimum of protesting. You mostly just attack people just for existing and call that protesting, which is just bullshit. It is just clout chasing, and you know that. On your channel, it always seems like the animals are in second place while clout is your first priority. And for a self-proclaimed animal rights activist, that is just a shame. And with such a mindset, you are nothing more than a fraud.
Animals are not objects to be bought and sold. They are individuals. They are sentient beings who have a right to live and not to die begging for their lives.
Yes, animals are sentient like us, but we humans are one step above that. We are sapient beings. Okay, here's a quick explanation about both things. Sentient means that a creature has the ability to feel and experience, which encompasses the consciousness or capacity for a subjective experience. But sapient means that a creature has intelligence, wisdom, and the ability to reason and understand complex concepts. So, no, Miss Katie, we are still one step above animals.
The students and staff here at That Vegan Teachers School are not woke. However, we acknowledge that the Pope, having been consistently a man over these years, is no longer okay. The next Pope should be a vegan woman.
First of all, that vegan teacher school? Did you run into a wall again? And also the sheer amount of irony in that verbal diarrhea that she just spat out. She just said that she isn't woke, but saying the Pope shouldn't be a man anymore, that it should be a vegan woman instead, is the most stereotypical woke thing I've heard in a while. You wanna know why there isn't a female Pope anymore since the Middle Ages? Because it is a tradition by now that the Pope is male. And for the Vatican, it is pretty much set in stone. Also, looking at your content, you are one of the most stereotypical woke influencers I've seen in a while. By the way, I hate labeling something as woke normally, since it is just an overused term by now. But she is the stereotype of that term.
The Pope is a cowardly man who refused to do the right thing, despite having a lot of power to do so. He could have easily encouraged the entire world to strive towards being as vegan as possible and led by example. But this is not what he did. Instead, he endorsed animal sacrifice symbolism. Catholic rituals, even under his leadership, often included symbolism tied to animal sacrifice, example, the Lamb of God, without any explicit critique of animal exploitation. This was shameful. Completely disgraceful on his part.
And now you are lying to spin a narrative around a recently deceased person. You are the coward here, Katie. Again, the reason why he didn't lead by example or from Karenish to English spew vegan propaganda was because he was strictly referring to the Bible, where eating meat is not only the norm, but encouraged. And with the disgraceful thing, you are nothing more than a disgrace to the normal vegan community. Because here is a little fun fact, other normal vegans that aren't insane absolutely hate her guts for giving such a normally good cause a bad reputation with her stupid takes.
The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has clearly stated that being vegan is healthful for all stages of development, including brand new babies, teenagers, adults, older people, pregnant women, and nursing women. It is also extremely inexpensive and would help to end so much poverty in this world. So many people, animals, and the planet overall would benefit. So why did he fail to do it? Because he's a coward.
Oh, we're really gonna go to that point now, are we? Even that academy you mentioned has reworked their article into saying that it only works at the ages 18 and above. Since they've realized that they made a mistake with that article. Yet Miss Katie right here is holding onto that argument so desperately that she still mentions the old version, even though it is null and void by now. Because she just can't admit that she also messed up there, since it has been proven that supplements on babies, for example, sometimes don't work. They often can't harness enough B12 without meat in their diet. And that could potentially lead to the baby having horrible developmental issues. So next time, Miss Katie, don't refer to that article again, because I will prove you wrong on that over and over again. Also, no, in some places, vegan alternatives cost way more than the meat version. So yeah, not a good point.
The Pope should have been braver, but instead, he is in hell right now because he refused to use the power that he had for good in this world. He failed to advocate for veganism, for the innocent victims desperately suffering in an animal holocaust.
Ooh, nobody gives a shit!
The Pope is in hell right now because he was cruel to cows. He wore leather shoes, and other leather things, which was unacceptable. The Pope wearing leather is wrong because it directly supports the cruel exploitation of cows and other animals in the leather industry. Leather is not just a byproduct of the meat industry as many believe. It is a co-product, meaning animals are specifically raised and killed, not just for their flesh, but also for their skin. Cows endure immense suffering in factory farms and slaughterhouses where they are confined, mutilated, and ultimately killed for products like leather. Moreover, wearing leather sends the message that it is acceptable to use animals as commodities, which contradicts the values of compassion and stewardship that spiritual leaders, including the Pope, should embody. By choosing plant-based or synthetic alternatives, the Pope could have set a powerful example of mercy and kindness, aligning his actions with the principles of caring for God's creation. Supporting ethical and cruelty-free choices is not just a personal decision, it's a moral one that resonates with the broader call to protect all beings from harm.
Synthetic leather is in fact bad for the environment, since it doesn't last nearly as long as real leather and it has a bunch of microplastics that aren't sustainable and recyclable. So buying real leather is in fact better for the environment, since it lasts extremely long and doesn't have to be replaced all that often. So yeah, another nonsense take by vegan teacher, debunked as always.
The Pope is in hell right now because he was offered $1 million to become vegan, and he refused it. It was deeply disappointing that Pope Francis declined the $1 million vegan campaign's offer to go vegan for Lent in exchange for a $1 million donation to a charity of his choice. This decision was problematic for several reasons. Number one, he missed an opportunity to align his actions with his teachings. Number two, he neglected the suffering of the animals. Number three, he undermined the efforts to combat world hunger, because animal agriculture is an inefficient system that consumes vast resources, contributing to global hunger. For instance, feeding crops to animals instead of directly to humans is wasteful and exacerbates food scarcity. By promoting a plant-based diet, the Pope could have highlighted a more sustainable and equitable approach to feeding the world's population. So not only did the Pope not give a shit about suffering animals, he also didn't give a shit about suffering children.
He in fact got to donate a lot of money to help the Jewish people, so I don't know why you're all up in your fifis by now. He still donated to a good cause, which was way better than animal rights. It was to help an ethnical group that is being victimized a lot. Also at the end, fuck you for slandering the Pope again. The rest of the video is pretty much just nonsense, so I will just wrap it up here and give my final thoughts on it. How long will it take for YouTube to finally ban this lunatic? She doesn't give a fuck about the terms of service. She keeps disrespecting other people and she keeps on lowering the bar. YouTube, you advertise yourself as such an open platform, so you should finally get rid of people like her, because if you don't, it will just make you, YouTube, look like total hypocrites. Anyways, thank you all for watching. That's it for today's video and I'll see you all in the next one. Hey, you've made it to the end of this video. I want to give a few special thanks to the team who helped make my channel the way it is today. The first person I want to thank is King John for making the border for my thumbnails and making the original Blizzard design. The design was absolute killer. The next person who deserves a shoutout is Indominus Pack. He has made the stills seen when pictures are shown, which are the character stills you see right now. And he has also made the channel banner, which by the way looks incredibly stylish. Genuinely thank you for this, Pax. The next shoutout goes to Alligator Enthusiast for making the profile picture of my channel. The design is genuinely epic and the attention to detail is stunning. You're a great person for this, Alligator Enthusiast. Thank you very much for that. Also, special thanks to Spino Blue Studios for making the 12 new main character stills and the background that is seen in my videos. The warm tone of the colors are so good for the eyes and the avatars are so expressive and detailed. It is just beautiful. So again, to everyone in the team, thank you so much. You're all great, awesome people. And also, thank you all dear viewers for watching this video. I hope you all liked it. I'll see you in the next video. Stay cold and goodbye.